What's going on, my adult friends? So, my sweet children, my adult friends, my fellow grasshoppers. We're gonna just knock out this analysis video here real quick today. We didn't really take any trades in FX yesterday. Stocks, we had an amazing green day yesterday. All of our stock positions, literally every single one, were all in the green. It was like a 4K day yesterday. So yeah, that was pretty good. It was a pretty badass day. So yeah, no forex positions yesterday. I didn't see anything I liked. So today we're gonna be looking at the FX majors right here. We're gonna run through them. So for GBP JPY, and albeit just understand I'm waking up. I'm getting to my charts now around 6 a.m. So I wasn't able to trade the end of London session like an hour or two ago. But I'm trading New York session. So New York session is starting right now here at 6 a.m. and we're getting going. So for GBP JPY, yesterday I had this marked up that I thought price was going to come up to this zone and reject it. So we did have that happen. So we had price come up to this zone, reject it momentarily, pushed up above, closed above the zone. So then I had the updated analysis for GJ, which I shared last night here in Telegram. And where the hell was it? It was somewhere up here. GJ updated. So I thought price was just going to bounce here at the 151.5 level pretty much. And that ended up happening. So we had price come, hit the level. We had it start to go down. We had it swipe up above the zone. So a little bit of like a liquidity swipe above the zone. After it did that, it came back down. We started trying to go down again, but it went sideways. Had to press up even further again to really squeeze all the shorts. And then finally it found enough sell orders up here above that high to push price down. So we had price push here, we had a little dead cat bounce and then pushed back below the zone before price finally tested the resistance level, found rejection and started bouncing. So now as of right now, I think price is going to come back down to here and I'm going to be looking for a bounce right here. If I had been awake, I would have been watching for that trade right there. But I mean, this happened like a couple hours ago in London session and I'm asleep. And my girlfriend with Bonnie, she'd get kind of weird if I was waking up around 1 a.m. in the morning to look at charts. She'd be like, what the hell are you doing? Like, I'm trying to sleep. There are more important things in life than money. She just doesn't understand. But so she's like sitting right here next to me in my office. It's funny. So what we're going to be doing right here is I'm just going to scratch this trade. I'm going to leave it alone. It looks like everything's set up nicely. But for this one down here, I'm going to be setting an alert here at the 150.9 level. And if price comes to this zone and starts bouncing like a bouncy ball, we could look to take price right back up here to 151.5. So that's what I'm going to be waiting for today. It may not even set up today. You know, it's Friday, so we'll see what happens. Euro JPY is really interesting. So right here in the 1 hour, we have this 1 hour level, super clean support zone. It broke down, tested as a super clean resistance area, and now we're back to this zone. We found resistance twice yesterday, had a little liquidity press up above the zone. Then price came back down, tried to test this zone, had a little dead cat bounce before pushing back down. Whenever I say dead cat bounce, I just mean like a bounce where price comes back into the zone to retest and it just fills all the pending orders. So you have that little bit of a bounce there for a second, but then it just quickly washes back below the zone. You can call this a fake out. You can call it a Wyckoff spring. You can call it an up thrust after distribution. You can call it a frustrating as hell liquidity spike, whatever you want to call it. Just understand that if price tries to find resistance at a zone and bounce away from it, and it can't, and it doesn't have enough sell orders to continue down away from the zone, sometimes what you might see is you might see price finally just push above the zone, test and try to find support to try to go and make new highs. But if price fails to make new highs from the one that was initially had on the breakout, so it's like, you know, we had this push up here, had price come and test, and then whenever it bounced, it failed to get past that previous high right there. You'll see this little dead cat bounce where it bounces, tries to go, can't make a new high, and then it quickly dips back below the zone. Fake outs are usually a bit quicker. Fake outs are more like it just goes right above the zone, grabs all stops, and then just immediately comes right back down. The problem with these dead cat bounces is when price goes above the zone and kind of hangs out above it for a couple hours, falls back, and you know, everybody's got their pending buy orders right here. Everybody who's sitting in sells right here usually sets their position to break even if they didn't get stopped out on the initial run up. And so when price comes back into here, all those break even stops, all the profit targets of everyone getting in shorts trying to target the retest, those get filled. People who have buy limits get filled. There may even be some people freaking taking sell stop orders, whatever. There's a bunch of pending orders sitting right there at the zone. So normally when price has a nice enough breakout past the zone, when it starts to come back, everyone will set pending orders and then price will come there. It's usually going to bounce anyway that first time. That's why I don't even take the first bounce into consideration, just because it doesn't really give you a lot of data. What I wait for is for price to have that little bounce, then I wait for it to come back, and then I wait for it to start finding support a second time. This means that the level is becoming a little bit more relevant because price is now testing it 2-3 times and starting to bounce. And it also keeps you from getting caught in shit like this where it bounces the first time, but then it just goes and murders below the level on the second candle, and then you're just sad and you're crying and you have to move back in with your parents because forex trading didn't work out because you keep getting stopped out on fake outs and dead cat bounces. So with that being said, just understand that if price doesn't have the liquidity to go downwards at a particular price level, sometimes you'll see this little liquidity purge where it spikes above the zone, tries to go, but then it just falls back below. What do you do now? Well, you just simply wait for price to come back to the original zone that you're looking to trade off of. Don't get confused by any other zones, like you'll be drawing some confusing zones like that and shit like that. Just wait for it to come all the way back up to the initial zone where it was finding resistance at. And once it gets there, look for the same rejection, look for 2 little bounces. I use minute 5, minute 15, depending on the time frame, depending on the higher time frame that I'm using. I'm using like 1 hour right here for the zone, like 1 hour, 4 hour. And so I use like minute 15, minute 5 to look at the entries. If it comes up and it has like 2 bounces at the zone, even just something like that right there, like that's perfect. Like it comes, hits the zone once, hits it a second time, that would be good. A third time, and then it starts to bounce downwards. I mean, like just something like that, just to show that price is hitting the zone and starting to bounce. What you don't want to see is if price just smashes above the zone, like then obviously no trade. But yeah, just wait for it to come find some resistance, and if it does, chances are it's going to try to bounce right there. You'll probably be right about half the time, and the other half the time you'll get stopped out. But the half the time that you're right, like if you're able to get an entry up here, let's just say it's a little bit lower after some rejection, and you target the next zone, like a trade like this is a 1-to-5 risk reward ratio. All right, so we took a trade earlier this week here on EJ. I was like a 1-to-5 right here. So when you do have your profit targets hit, it's great because it pays for all the losers and with a bunch of profit, so it's fine. And then the other half the time you'll just pin out or it'll get stopped out or something. It'll keep ripping up. It is what it is. But yeah, so that's what I'm looking for on Euro JPY. I'm looking for a rejection of this 1 hour zone. We did have what looks to be a fake out at this time. We're just waiting on a second retest of this level since it's broken back below it. And if that retest starts finding some rejection, we'll look to get short. AED JPY, same sort of thing. We missed this buy here yesterday because I woke up like 2 hours after the move, and so it was like 1 hour after the move. That was frustrating. But anyway, so what we have going for us now, we did have price come all the way back to this previous level here. I would have been kind of hesitant to trade that because it's just been so far back, but it did end up bouncing through it. Now we also have price has now exited the current support resistance zone that we're at. So I'm trying to, this zone really, to be honest, doesn't look that clear over here. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to use this recent zone right here to trade off, because this is like a 1 hour zone right here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect that wick right there to this bottom wick right here, drag it up a little bit more. Actually, no, that's fine right there. So now we'll go to the minute 15. We'll see how it looks. So yeah, so we've had a resistance. We've had it find support right there. We found support here for a second. Now we're dipping below. So here's what I want to see on AED JPY this morning. I want to see us like hold below, preferably like a 1 hour candle close below this zone, because 1 hour candle's still open right now. What I'd like to see is like a break below this zone, 1 hour candle close. And then what I'd like to see is after we close, like, preferably like a little bit lower down here, like just a nice push. I want to see price come back, and if we find like a little double top on the minute 5, minute 15, then I'd look to short AED JPY to this next support zone down here, which is 79.75. The trade might look something like this after we enter. Sell right there, stop just above the zone, target down here. So maybe around like a 1-to-4 risk reward ratio. Obviously this could all, like the entry could be up here, the entry could be down here, the stop could be shorter, but it all depends on what happens when price gets back to this zone and tests. I'm just going to like fine tune this little level right here to make sure that we're looking at the right one. Cool. And I'm going to set an alert right here to be watching for sells here at this zone. Obviously this is invalidated if price just like spikes back above the zone and starts retesting. And in that case, I'd even look for longs back to the previous level up here if that occurs. So it just depends on what happens. I'm thinking a short bias for these pairs. We've already had like some nice runs up yesterday and the day before. Now I think price might be trying to like sell off or something. But hey, who knows? It all depends on what happens at the levels. This is what I'm looking for in 80 JPY. Pretty much a short bias just for the time being. So we have GBP USD. I have this zone right here, but to be honest, I don't think it looks that great. I'm not sure where the actual zone is because it's so like freaking like wild. Like we've got resistance and liquidity spikes and price pinning in and out past zones. Doesn't look the clearest to me, so I'm gonna be removing that one. We did have what looks to be a really cool trade that happened. I guess what was that during Asian session yesterday? The purple is Asian session, the green is London session, and the red is New York session. And this is just a sessions indicator I found on TradingView to see like what times certain price movements set up. But this right here, if you look, we had initial reaction right here at the zone as resistance. Then we had price spike above, came in, tested, had that little dead cat bounce before breaking back below the zone. So you see right here, my sweet grasshoppers, we had a push above, dead cat bounce, couldn't make a new high, broke back below, came in, tested. Right here would have been a pretty solid entry before coming down. And I'll show you why this would have been a good entry, especially if we go to the minute 5. Keep in mind, this movement right here, this is a break and a retest of this 1 hour support resistance zone, okay? And remember, like that's pretty much all I trade, like break a retest of clear support resistance zones. It's ridiculously simple. If you haven't watched my free trading video, hit the link in the description of this video and just watch my free trading. It's like an hour long. I break down like exactly how I do this with like my simple trading rules. Like it's stupidly simple. Go watch the free trading. It's like an hour long, but it'll show you exactly how I trade as well as all the context and logic behind it. But this is a break and retest. All I would have been waiting for was like a little double top to occur at the zone. And that happened right here. So you would have had price come into this zone again. It would have hit your alert. You would have been notified. You would have started watching it. Looks like this took like maybe 20-30 minutes for the first one to bounce. Then we have a second one right here, and then price started bouncing for that second time right there. So that would have been enough, I mean, to get into an entry right there. Just price just comes and bounces twice. So that would have been the first bounce. After the second bounce showed rejection, you could have entered. Stop just above the zone, just because sometimes it'll go and test 3 or 4 times. You don't want to be pinned out on the third or fourth test. So that would have been that. The next zone that I would have taken profits at had I been awake to take this trade, because I would have. In fact, I was awake to take that trade. I just don't like trading Asian session. Even though I wouldn't try to trade a buy off of this zone, it's definitely an area where I would be taking profits at if I was in a sell, just because that was resistance once, this was resistance a second time. I mean, it's likely to think that price might bounce there and go back up, or it'll just keep dropping to hell. Who knows? It's better to be safe. So the target could have been right there. This would have been at least like a nice 1-to-4 risk reward ratio. If you took profits a little bit before the zone up here, this would have been a nice trade. So it is what it is. I don't like trading Asian session though, because stuff usually takes longer. Like the average trade duration for me is like, if I'm day trading, is like 2 or 3 hours. Like if you look at these last trades I've taken here on GU, this one stopped out in like less than an hour. So the trade duration was less than an hour. This one went to the profit target in about an hour or two. That was 1-to-4. This one over here, I had one of these stop out. This was about maybe like 2-3 hours, stopped out. This one went to the profit target within like less than 2 hours. So it's like when you're day trading and these are all during New York session. So when you're doing that, it's like, it's awesome. You know, you don't really have to sit in the trades forever. This one, you would have been in the trade for like all of Asian session and all like half of Asian session, all of London session. And just now you'd be getting your TP hit. You know, it's fine. Like you can trade it anytime you want. I think it's easier if you're going to be day trading to take trades during New York session or London session, because that's when you typically see the most movement. I might be having to wake up to catch some London session action here in the next bit. I'm going to go ahead and leave this level up on my chart. I'm hesitant to trade this level. I don't know why, but you know, I'll go ahead and just leave it up for here. I'm not saying I'm going to be trading buys off this zone, but I think if we start finding enough support here, this does look clear actually. This one does not, but this one, yeah, I mean these two highs right here and that one, we might be seeing a little bit of a bounce right here. We'll see. I'm gonna watch it for a bit. So now we have Euro USD. So Euro USD, I've really been hanging in there, being patient for this entry. I think that especially on the 4 hour, this is one of those things like where you see Price bounce at a zone. It fails to go and make new highs. So instead it comes back, swipes all the liquidity out below the zone, and then it just quickly just pops right back above the zone. You know, and then what will typically happen now is it'll come back to the zone. If it's going to bounce here, it'll find some bullish sensitivity there, and you can take profits back at the previous highs. Or if you're a swinger, you just want to swing it all the way back up to here. I mean, I would take profits here at the top of the range, but that's that. So what I'm looking for on EU right here is simply a break and retest of this. This is a 4-hour zone. You can call it a 4-hour, 1-hour level, whatever you like. But it was support there. We broke through, found resistance right there, broke back above, found support, and had a nice bounce. I think if price just comes here and starts showing us a little bit of bullish price action on the lower time frames, you could get an entry somewhere around this level, your stop just below it, and then a target at this resistance level here, and I would take profits a little bit before just to be safe, because sometimes you'll see like shit like this where it doesn't quite get all the way to the zone, then it falls. Just like right here, it doesn't quite get all the way to the zone, then it falls. So I would take my profits there a little bit shorter. Now, for this to set up, we'd have to see price for one test the zone. Then we'd have to see price stop at the zone and pause and start showing some bullish rejection on lower time frames. Usually a double bottom with like some bullish wicks is really good. And that will give us enough information and evidence to suggest beyond a reasonable doubt that price is likely at least going to try to go up from right there. And then you'll, like I said, you'll lose about half the trades. You'll win the other half of them, and the risk reward comes and pats you on the back at the end of the week, and you feel good about yourself because you still made money. So we have 80 USD here right now. So I had this level drawn up yesterday. To be honest though, it's not looking that clear anymore. So I'm just trying to find like a price level that might be good. Yeah, you know, I'm not even really seeing anyone. We have this right here, but I mean, look at that shit. Like, huge liquidity spike during FOMC. We've had that one first as well. We had a second one. Then price rammed above this, so it never even came to retest it. I think I'm just gonna leave that one alone. You know, to be honest, I don't really see anything here on AU. I see this support zone down here. We might be able to do something when price gets there, like a break and retest, or a swipe below it and a break back above and retest to go long. We'll have to see. AU, I'm not really seeing any clear price levels. So gold, XAU USD. So I was looking to trade gold as a support level here yesterday. The move, I thought it was going to bounce here at this zone, which it did end up bouncing. It did have a liquidity swipe below the zone before it ended up moving upwards. So I was going to be looking to trade this. I was waiting on a second retest because on the minute 5 here, like this is like a 1-hour support zone, right? So it's like fine. On the minute 5, we had that first bounce. I was waiting for price to come back and have a second bounce, but we never had a second bounce. Like when my alert went off, on my phone, and then I opened up my phone to check it, and price was like down here, and I was like, yep, screw that, not taking buys. So, and then let's see what happened. So what session did this occur in? So a little ways into Asian session. So like probably like an hour or two into Asian session, price did break back above the zone. Came back and tested, started to bounce, then it went higher, bounced, didn't really have a double bottom right here, and it was also Asian session. I'm fine with not having took this trade. I was right about the move. It's bounced, and you know, if I were to put my money on it, I'd probably say price is going to come all the way up here to around 1761 to this next zone. But yeah, I mean, whatever. I wouldn't have taken it anyway, even if I'd been watching it. Just because it didn't really bounce twice, it just kind of tested once and started to go. So yeah, I don't know. It is what it is. So what I'm gonna be doing for now, let's update this chart a little bit. We'll go to the 4-hour just to try to see if we can see anything clearer. We do have like a nice bullish reaction right there. I'm gonna delete this zone right here because it looks like price has been screwing around with it. So we have this. We're pretty much left with just this right here for today. So this support zone as well as this horizontal resistance over here. I'll go to the 1-hour, see if we can make it any clearer. So yeah, it's a relatively clear zone. So we've got resistance kind of twice right here. We've got support twice right here, support twice again, and then we've had a nice clean break below it. So yeah, if I were to, I mean, unless gold is going to make a complete reversal up to the upside, which it could, you know, I don't know. I'm a day trader. I don't care what the long-term move is. But if it comes back up here and starts reacting, then yeah, I think it's perfectly valid to take a short to come down to here. So, and we'll have to see which, so that was 80 JPY alert. So we'll go and look at that right after this. Anyway, I'm going to set an alert for gold right here at this horizontal price zone. If it breaks the, if it It's already broken. If it comes to retest this zone, starts finding rejection, I'm going to look for shorts. I don't know if I'd target this zone all the way down here. I mean, I'd probably just take profits like somewhere in here just because that would be a good risk reward ratio. I mean, this is like quite the move, but you know, who knows? Gold can move. We'll see what happens. Obviously, if I take a trade, I'll share it to Mission FX clients. And then I'll post the analysis in the free Telegram channel, and then you guys can do whatever the hell you want to do to try to to try to trade it if you like. So, and let's go look at 80 JPY because that alert just went off. Okay, cool. So this is why I was saying we need to wait for the 1 hour candle to close below the level, because if you look at it right now, and this is like a good learning experience for you guys, on the minute 5, you see this as a break and retest, and you're looking for the short bias, right? So you're looking for sells. And that's all fine and dandy. But if you're looking at this from that 1 hour chart and up, what you're seeing right now is you're not seeing a break and retest for sells. You're seeing a break and retest for buys. You're seeing this bullish rejection right here. So in the moments like this, where you have two different potential outcomes setting up, and it looks different on each time frame, what it's best to do is wait for all the time frames to start to align. So for instance, if you were looking for the buy setup, you would want to wait for the 1 hour candle to close, even the 4 hour candle if you want to be safer. But I mean, the 1 hour candle is fine from my experience if you're just day trading. You want to wait for the 1 hour candle to close bullish. That will give you some evidence that on this time frame we're seeing a bullish breakout. And then on the lower time frames, what this will likely look like if price closes bullish is you'll see that price closes up in here. Then you want to wait for it to come back right here and start rejecting this zone 2 or 3 times as support. On the 1 hour, what you'll probably see as well is you'll probably see like 1 or 2 bullish candle closures if that happens. So now you can take everything and put it all together and say, based on the higher time frames and the lower time frame confirmations for the entries, everything is kind of pointing to like a buy. And then vice versa for sells. Like for sells, you'd want to see like a break and a close below this zone. And if it breaks and closes below it, and then it comes back to test and it starts closing with the bearish 1 hour candle, and then on the minute 5 it's rejecting this zone as resistance, and it's rejected the zone like twice, and you think it's going to bounce. Putting everything together will get you better results. If I were you, I wouldn't. I mean, you do whatever the fuck you want. It's your life. It's your trading account. But if you did ask me for advice and you were like, Nick, what do I do when I've got 2 different conflicting things going on the chart? I would say wait for everything to line up. And if it doesn't line up, just don't take the trade. Keep your money in your pocket. Like, you'll be fine because you're not risking anything. Sure, you might miss a move or this and that, but at least you're not taking trades that you're confused about, or you're wondering whether or not you got the analysis right. Like, you know, it's just better if you don't do that, in my opinion. So wait for every single thing to line up across most time frames, like across the higher time frames and lower time frames that you're using. It's my advice whenever you have 2 conflicting things like this. So yeah, that's that. We'll finish up. So US 30 looks like the same thing that happened across all the major pairs. I wasn't looking to trade this zone up here, just because this is the one I'm referring to, because it's been so many, like, it's been such a weird like price zone whipping back and forth. Price did get to a resistance zone right here and start to reject, but I mean, that's kind of a random resistance zone. There's also like another one right here, and it's just all completely random. Like, so what I was waiting for and what I'm still waiting for is, I'm just going to say, well, I might use this for like a profit zone. What I'm waiting for is for price to come back into this zone, 34,548, and test. And if we do get a test right here with a nice bounce, then I would look to go long right here. So I'd look to go long with a stop just under the zone and a target right here. And, you know, this is looking, I mean, we might have to have a tighter stop. I like to usually have at least a 1 to 4 risk reward. Yeah, so this might be like not viable enough, because that's a pretty tight stop loss here for US 30. We'll have to see what happens. I don't know what I'm going to do, but we'll have to see what happens here on US 30. So, yep, that's that. So that's US 30. Everything else, SPY, I don't actively trade it right now, but it does look like yesterday, as I was sharing, or like in a moment of what is it called? Like a key moment. I'm still finishing my coffee this morning. I'm still kind of tired. So we're like a key moment on SPY and US 30 and everything, where price would either break downwards or break back upwards. I'd say we've almost kind of broken like back up. I'm going to flatten out this trend line a little bit, because I'm not going to say we've broken bullish quite yet. But yeah, if we continue making like new highs like throughout the trading session today, yeah, I think it'd be safe to assume that this down spike on the 4-hour daily is just a dip. It will probably be continuing to the previous highs. If it doesn't hold right here, we'll probably see SPY and the S and the other indices come all the way down to the previous lows, which that could happen. So we'll watch it day by day. These are just all stocks that I'm watching. I'm in most of them. I'm not in Tesla. I'm kicking myself for not being able to get into Nvidia because I had my alert down here instead of right here at the previous highs. And so I just missed the zone. And I might not have even been able to enter there. But I was looking to buy Nvidia from here all the way up here. Be up like 8% right now. That'd be like 4K in profits just on this one trade alone. I'll go ahead and delete this alert now. Wow, that's sad. It's weird looking at a chart and seeing all the money you could have made and then being like, fuck, I missed it. So yeah, I guess I had my zone a little bit too far down, I guess. Yeah, and that'll happen in your trading. For some reason, you'll put zones lower and then price won't quite come into it, and you'll realize that you just marked it up like in such a way that didn't give you a trade setup, and then you're kind of weird. But yeah, I mean, if you're looking at this trade, what was this? It's just a resistance zone, and then it was a break above the resistance zone and a retest, and there was some rejection, and then could have gone long. And if this does go to the previous highs, it'll probably be like a 10% gain. Yeah, 10.8%. Wow, holy shit. Whatever. For Tesla, I'm still waiting on a dip down to 690, 695 area. Moderna. So our Moderna trade's going good. We've got an entry here at 393 as well as 368. I'm still waiting for price to come back up here to these previous highs. Been sharing this one with you guys for like the past however long. If we do crack this recent high from a day or two ago, this was like the 10th of September. Whoops, like 2 weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago. If we crack that high and continue the previous high up here, this is going to be, a huge winner. One of my biggest winners. Yeah, so 32% pretty much. This will be my biggest winner on stocks that I've called in the Telegram channel if it continues up. And if not, then we'll just manage the position if it starts showing signs of weakness. Peloton, we're long on Peloton right now. I called this yesterday. I'm looking for a bounce from right here back up to this next support resistance zone. If it just bounces that far, that's like a 17% winner. Freaking nuts. Be almost 10K. Starbucks, I'm long on Starbucks right now, and I'm also long on Target. I'm waiting on these to play out. These aren't looking the greatest. We went long back up in here on these. And I'm in my full positions on these, so it's like I'm not going to be adding any more. I'm hesitant to sell out of these positions because this shit's just been going up forever. It's probably just gonna take a little bit more time if it hasn't already gone up, right now. Like, it's probably gonna take more time. Same thing with Starbucks. We've just gone up for quite some time for the past 5 years, even since after the crash, like from the lows back to where we're at now. Starbucks has over doubled like the past year and a half. I'm just waiting. I've got another alert down here to scale into Starbucks if it does crash a little bit more. But yeah, that's that. And there's Bitcoin. So Bitcoin, so far, I'm still waiting. There's a lot of people like in my clients group who was like suggesting buys around 40K. I was saying I'm waiting all the way for like the very lowest bitch low point of the weekly zone. And the bitch low point of the weekly zone is like down here around 38,000. That right there is technically the weekly zone. So, this is fine for entries right in here. I'm just waiting because if you drag it all the way to the bodies of the weekly closers on the candles, and then also if you drag it to where this weekly candle like came back and tested and bounced, that's like the most absolute low of this weekly zone. And you're technically good to take some buys right now, but if you just want like a really decent price, if you just take buys from right here and we recover to the previous highs this year, that's a 60% growth just on Bitcoin. If you get into the altcoins as well, you could probably double, triple, and on some of the micro caps, mini caps, maybe even 5x, 10x, 20x your money. I'm waiting on this. I made so much money back in April and May of this year that I'm in no hurry to give it back. I made like over 200K from all this shit. So I'm not ready to just lose it all. I'm being very patient. So that's what I'm waiting for. So we'll see how that plays out on Bitcoin. I've got my alert in there. I will be starting to get back in around 38K. So yeah, that's that. That's the plan for this morning. I hope this was useful. Make sure you hit the like button on this video. Seriously, hit the like button. It really helps, like a lot. So just hit the like button. If you like watching me do some charts with some lo-fi music while doing the Telegram channel, like yeah, just, hit the like button. Really helps me. I'll see y'all later. Y'all have a great, safe trading day, and y'all have a great, safe weekend. And I'll see you guys. I don't know. I'll see you when I see you. Cheers.